Okay, thank you for joining, first of all. We'll just try to give a small introduction on 101, what is the background and the thoughts behind the design in general. Kristian and I are responsible for all the creative parts in 101. We've done it from the first day. It's founded in 2018, where we took our first products out on the market, so it's pretty young company still. In top of that, spent a lot of time to develop 101. That was actually a kind of experiment to start on, where the challenge was to see if we could do more interior as furniture. It means that we actually started from scratch to develop all products, even a small vase, because we knew at that time that it was really difficult to find factories and suppliers who had an interest in develop from scratch. They always wanted to build on parts they already had, or at least always the same materials. And so the hardest part of that journey was, of course, to convince them that the completely new company wanted to challenge all these things at the same time, because we went a lot into materials as well. Yeah, it's been a fun journey, and how to say, yeah, it's years ago now, and we have a really close cooperation with our suppliers today. My background, just to give an idea, because the whole idea with 101 is as well to work on challenge contrasts. And if you take Kristian and I, we are typical also, have very different backgrounds, which we actually love. My background starts from fashion, actually, so I'm completely autodidact in this business, but of course design. So it's a question of looking into the future and have ideas on that, and maybe most important for me, also be able to work really fast when you have an idea. So that's definitely been my take into an industry I'm on the private part I always have loved. So yeah.
Yeah. Yes, and my background is different. I'm trained as an architect, a furniture architect. Come from the Royal Danish Academy of Fine Arts in Copenhagen. I also spent some time studying design in Japan. I lived in Kyoto for a while and studied over there. So that's been a big part of inspiration for me personally. I think also that was where we had a shared passion for, in general, Japanese design, also wabi-sabi and how to combine Danish design and Japanese design and this influence. And I think also that's why when you look at the whole collection today, you can see especially all the materials, all the surfaces, everything is kind of textured and has this kind of like patinated feeling. There's like nothing polished or like a plain powder-coated surface. All the surfaces are, as we used to say, they are alive. You can see there's like a lot of different color layers in them, and they are like textured and it looks patinated. That was a big inspiration for us. Also the way to work with the products in a very sculptural way. We also like to see that most of our products, they have this very like sculptural or artistic detail to them. For example, the vases, they can, of course, you can put flowers in them, but they can also stand alone as a small art piece by itself, or as a small sculpture. The same goes for the coffee and side tables, which is also something that we like to also see them as small sculptures in themselves that can stand alone without a lot of coffee tables or books on them. So that has been like a big part of how we have built up the collection, and we have found a lot of inspiration, of course, outside of Japan, but also in general from arts and sculptures. We take a lot of inspiration from that, and we try to combine a lot of different styles and create our own kind of design universe.
Yeah, as Kristian is saying, I mean, it's short version is always where we are intrigued is to have sometimes two very big contrasts and try to see if we can somehow mix it and create a form of harmony in that. And when it works, it's really great. A lot of times it doesn't work, but to challenge it all the time is very interesting, and a lot of our products are actually made from that. If you talk about our concrete, you see a lot about here. It's a typical, for me, concrete is always, it's a very hard material, and it's a little cold for most people. The color is also, the color is cold. So for us, when you see it today, it was all about, creating a kind of hard material, but make the color play warm. And that was one of the first things we actually started on. If you take our metal, it's been the same. Everything was very shine, and we're not that fond about the shine. So it was again to how could we put it down and wash it a little out and still give the metal effect without it's in your face, with shine. It's always been, it's nice when you get the results from challenging things like that. We always use the expression umami, which is, I think a lot is familiar with that expression, mainly in food. And umami is mean, I think, very simple. It has a lot of meanings, but one of them is actually to have the perfect balance between very big contrasts. And it's always a fascinating thought, to challenge things from two completely different worlds and see if you can create or fight things sometimes, and actually make a full harmony in the things. Then you normally always have created something completely new.
And from that, I think that very much speaks also for some of the new products. We have this year we're launching the Focus chair, which is the one we have there, actually, the upholstery chair. It's actually inspired by, we call it Focus, which is a Japanese word for these rake tools that you use for Japanese gardens to kind of make these kind of waves in the sand. And I think some of you are probably familiar with these Japanese zen gardens. So it's again this idea about taking this kind of like a very hard, sharp tool, but then try to use some of that form and put it into like a soft upholstery chair. So it's been again about like combining these contrasts, and that's something we do all the time. This chair, for instance, it comes in two variations. We have it in boucle, you can see there, and then we also have it in a sunproof fabric, which you can see when you walk out close to the entrance, at kind of like a textured dark gray color. It's actually made from a fabric called sunproof, which is suitable for outdoor use, and it's very easy to clean, and so it's also for contract market, for hotels, restaurants, etc. It's a kind of a new field area we are moving into with this fabric, and we're going to use it also for other of our upholstery furniture in the future.
Yeah. Then we have a Focus. We actually made a pretty big collection, which we'll have in introduction in August. So for 3 days we actually choose to pick out a few items and have full focus and deliver that a little earlier, and then we have deliveries in August, September on the rest. But one of the most important parts is the light you started to see when you walked in, the neon light, which we call Ghost, which hopefully makes a little sense where we wanted to go. But that part was, for me personally, a really funny travel in a way, because personally I've always hated neon light, because I always have the picture of going to this Asian restaurant where you can be cozy, the food can even be cozy, but you get this blue light smashed in your face, and everybody looks a little more ugly than, so it's, you can also find it in warehouses. But the point was that both Kristian and I liked, of course, the material for that you could able to create, because you can bend it in all directions and go much more arty. But to go in, we needed to change so we could make the light cozy, and that we have spent a lot of time on, and actually very happy about. Now we have achieved to get completely warm light instead of the cold light, and on top of that we do with all our lights, we put dimmer on, so you on top of that of course have the possibility, but it's definitely warm light. So that was that was also a very interesting way to go from something you really don't like to actually, yeah, you really like it today.